So what are your roles and responsibilities in your current project?
Yes, so as I mentioned, I am responsible for leading all the microservices which are based on Java. So my role basically includes estimating the requirements and the stories, and then like understanding it, and then creating the design, and then developing unit testing, and then finally deploying it to multiple environments. I'm also responsible for mentoring the junior developers in understanding the stories and the requirements, and also collaborating with them in stories where they are stuck, so that to ensure that we don't miss the deadlines. So I've also worked independently on some of the components, as well as I'm responsible for mentoring the other team.
Okay. So in your current project, do you have a team or
Yes, we
how are
do
you
have
doing?
a team. We do have a team. For the Java microservices, we are a total of four people. So I'm acting as a lead, and so I take part in all the requirement meeting calls, and I distribute the tasks among my team members.
Okay, so you are delegating the work. So
Yeah,
do you have
delegating
any
as
direct
well as
reportees?
delegating as well as taking care of like independently taking care of some of the modules.
Okay, so you are taking care of some of the modules. So are you a Scrum Master, Scrum Lead, or
No, I'm not
so have you involved in any resource planning or estimations and
no, not in the
sprint
resource.
planning?
No, not in the resource planning. Um, just in like yeah. So whenever like some requirements done is come, so I'm responsible for like estimating what could be the story points for it, like based on its complexity,
So with
medium,
whom
high,
you
low.
are estimating, to whom you are telling the story points and
So yeah, so we basically have a meeting every week with the client as well as with my managers, wherein we get involved with all the requirements which come up, and we divide it into multiple Jira stories, and based on I'm responsible for telling them what could be the complexity for this particular story, and based on that we decide the story points for it.
so you are giving the story points to your managers and all.
Yes,
So
yes.
are you interacting with any business analysts or technical architects directly?
In our like in within the IBM.
Yes, within the
Yes,
IBM.
yes, yes. We have
So
a solution architect as well in our team.
okay, so in which cases you have interacted recently? Can you explain me any scenario where you have reached your solution architect
Yes.
or does any solution architects?
Yes. So there was a requirement wherein we were making call to we had to like make call to multiple external services. So there was step by step process. Like first we had to make a call to external API, which was just checking DB connection, and then again an API like process no DB to adapter, like multiple steps were there. So I connected with my architect to understand the proper flow for it, and whether or not we need to log every no process in the database. Also it was like a scheduled process, like it had to run like every day at some particular time, like a cron job. So regarding that I connected with them, and to have a better idea of the flow of what exactly is should be the best possible approach. So yeah.
Okay, so how frequently you will interact with the business analysts or solution architects?
uh,
So how
no, I
so
won't
based
say
upon your roles and
it's not a
responsibilities.
like daily. Like we have a fixed set of meeting like every week, so during that we can, like if we have any issues, or we can no connect, like yeah, we have to like connect every week. So
So to provide these story points or 9 days effort and all, so you need to understand the story first, right? So how
Yeah,
will
so
you,
since it's
with
a
whom you will discuss about that story, and while creating the dev tasks and all, to whom you will discuss? So how
since
will you understand the story before providing the story points?
see, since those stories are related to my technical skills, which is Java, so I can better have an idea on what could be the complexity for that. So, for example, if I get a particular story for
No,
creating an
technical wise not. I am asking about functional wise. If you don't understand the functionality itself,
yeah, if I don't understand the functionality, then I need to connect with my lead, my like the whoever is hired, the technical manager, and I need to first understand what is the proper, like what is properly required about this story if I don't understand the story. But once if I understand the story, I know what all technical things needs to be done for that, and then I can have a better idea of if it's the low complexity task or it's the medium or a high complexity task. So then I'm capable of providing the story points for it.
okay. Okay, let's go to the technical. So are you working on Java 8 or Java 7? Which version of Java you are using?
Java 8.
Do you have idea about the remove if interface?
Which interface?
Remove if.
Remove if interface.
Yeah, when did you use it, and did you ever use it?
No, I have never used remove if interface. No.
Okay. So did you ever get a chance to write any design pattern, implementation of design pattern, or using a design pattern, writing a class while building the application? It's compiling while installing the build, and did you ever get a chance?
I know about the design.
You have all your Java classes. So while installing your build in any of the server or instance, so all the class files will be generated, right?
Yeah.
And available there in the class file. So have you ever written any design pattern by following any exact design pattern in Java classes? So to support this mechanism or this feature, I need to go for this design pattern. Such a scenario have you ever faced?
So I can remember one, like an observer pattern, wherein what happens is the subject needs to notify all the observers about the state change. So basically it's a tight coupling and can be used within an application. So I remember I used that once, wherein like I defined the subject class and defined the methods like notify, remove, like removing the observer and adding the observer and like notifying. And in the observers class, like multiple, for example, if you have a like news agency, and you have like multiple subscribers, for example, email subscriber, phone subscriber, like multiple subscribers. So all the subscribers, you can have like a update function. And in the news publisher, which is acting as a subject, you can have like adding the subscriber, removing the subscriber, and notifying the subscriber. So yeah, that's basically a tight coupling where the subject directly informs the observers. So it's similar to pub/sub, but pub/sub pattern is kind of a loose coupling where like message broker is being involved. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, as we know, the singleton pattern, it's like common, so we can use it like multiple places, like wherein like we need to create only one object for the particular class, then we can go for the singleton pattern or the factory pattern, wherein like we want to define, we don't want the user to know like how the objects are created based, so we can use that factory design pattern.
Can you explain me about the thread safe singleton design pattern?
Thread safe singleton design pattern. Yeah.
Thread safe singleton design pattern. Why
Yes.
can't we go for normal singleton design pattern?
If we go
What
for
is
normal singleton design pattern, so then it it can break actually. Even the thread safe design pattern singleton
so
pattern can
break
break.
means what kind of error or exception you might encounter?
So if multiple threads are trying to access the thread safe singleton design pattern, then it ensures that only at a time only one thread can access the synchronized block, wherein we are actually using a double checking mechanism in the thread safe version. So we actually do synchronization at the class level, and we check if the object is already available. So if the object is already available, we provide the available object. If it's not available, then we actually create a new object. So that is a thread safe implementation. We're using a double check mechanism. So when like we have a function wherein we are returning the instance of the class. So inside that function we are
Okay,
checking.
can you write this?
Yeah.
Just a pseudo or code,
Yeah, I
whatever
can
you
write. So
explain?
should I write it in a text or in a text document?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible? Okay, so for example, we have a class ABC. Then we can have a private static instance of that. So static ABC, for example, obj. Then what we can do is we can make the constructor private. Also we can have a public static ABC get instance. Inside that we can first check if obj equal null. Then we can have a synchronized block. Here again we'll check if obj equal null. Then we can have obj is equal to new of abc, and
Okay.
we
Got
can
it.
return.
So, Supriya, do you have experience in telecom domain?
Telecom domain, no, I work mostly in the banking domain.
Banking domain. So, you have experience in multi-threaded environment.
Yes, I do have.
Okay. So, did you work on Kafka?
Yes, I have worked on Kafka.
So, how are you maintaining the error handling mechanism in Kafka?
Like on the code side?
Yes. Configuration side also fine. Can you explain me how are you handling the error handling mechanism?
Error handling particularly related to Kafka. If I say like, so we have like multiple Kafka properties which we can add. Like there is something called ACK, and also the retry. So retry, so if retry, we can like set it to like, for example, 3. So if it fails, then it retries, and we can use exponential backoff algorithm for that. And if we do ack is equal to acknowledgement is equal to true, so it makes sure that um, on, like, for example, if a consumer starts reading the message from a particular partition, and it has read to a particular offset, so it actually commits to Kafka that yeah, I've read it to this particular offset. So after that, if the consumer dies and it again comes back, so it knows that till what offset is it has read the message, and then it can start from the no.
Suppose there are multiple topics in Kafka, and a particular message. Okay, in the topic, there are multiple topics corresponding to the clustered nodes, and so one of the clustered node is down. So how the messages in that the topic will be handled corresponding to the topic? Suddenly it went down.
So we have like multiple what is that called, multiple nodes. So one is acting as a leader node and other are acting like a follower node. So if one node dies, so the zookeeper takes care of electing the other node as the leader, so that actually takes place of that leader node. So that it is, Kafka is basically meant to be fault tolerant. So we can have like maximum, like by default we can have 3 brokers, but we can like add as many Kafka nodes like as we want. So yeah.
Okay. So what is distributed caching?
Distributed caching, so do you mean like the Spring Boot caching which we use, or
Yes. Have you ever worked on distributed caching mechanism?
I work with @cacheable, which is a Spring Boot annotation, and we use it on methods where like extensive operations is required, and we use it to cache the return the data which is returned by those messages. So @cacheable I have used, and also there is a cache annotation which is used in the Hibernate for the second level caching. So first level caching, as you know, is by default the session cache, but when we want to use the second level cache which is related to session factory, then we can use @cache, and we can add a external cache provider, for example eCache or Redis. We can add the dependency for it, and we can add the configurations related to that in the properties file. Yeah.
So in your current project, which algorithm is being used for your cache mechanism?
We have not as such used any cache mechanism, but I know about the cache algorithms like least recently used, least frequently used. So I know about it, but we have not used it.
Least recently used. Can you explain me about least recently used?
Okay, so if it's a least recently used, so for example, if we have like so it actually in the cache it keeps for example, if its size is 5, so it will keep all the data which is like frequently used in the cache. So it will keep removing the one which is the least frequently used. For example, if we have 5 things 10 things, and if I give points to everything like 10 9 8 7, like, so whatever least point, like whatever is least access, so that will get removed
suppose you have a customer or subscriber or any particular account in your project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
For that particular customer, there are some 100 parameters. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and some 100 references and all. So, uh, how are you loading that customer into the caching? Are you loading all the parameters and references associated to that customer into the caching from database?
No, we should only store which is frequently accessed. So we should not store everything here in the cache. So whatever is
How will you do this? How will you do this? So to store only specific parameters or references. So how this is being mapped or happening?
mm, I don't remember that exactly now since I have not used it lately.
Okay. Okay. Do you have experience in SQL, PLSQL?
Yeah, SQL I have.
Yes. So have you ever wrote any trigger?
Trigger? No.
Yes. No. Any procedures, packages, functions?
Functions like I've used rank function, I've used common table expressions, used nested queries, like things related to this only. For the on the Java side, I've used JPA framework to interact with the database.
Okay. So you didn't debug any packages or procedures from backend. Suppose in your project if there is one PLSQL procedure and that is giving some wrong values and that is not giving the expected values. So did you get a chance to debug the PLSQL procedure and
No, I've never came across this
fix
requirement.
the issues?
No.
Okay. So you have one digital. Okay. So you are going to introduce a new API. New API. So for that new API, corresponding serialization and deserialization needs to be supported.
Mm.
Like writing the Pojo classes and some, for example, either it is JSON or JSON to Java, Java to JSON, or JSON to Java to XML, or XML to Java. And, so how you will handle the runtime exceptions in this scenario? So after making all the changes while building the while installing the not even building while installing the solution or code, then only you will come across some serialization and deserialization issues. So you can't build every time your local build and you can't install and test it. So how will you fix these issues?
So basically, you're asking about the exception handling, how we can do.
Yes. How are you not exception handling? So how how to overcome this serialization and deserialization issues? Before as these will be appear only at runtime. So how will you check this runtime exception upfront? Okay, and make the changes, necessary changes. Suppose some XSD changes are missed, or else some properties are not tagged as XML elements or with some annotations are missed. So all these things, build will be success and you will start installing the build, and at the time of installation also it will be success. It will fail at the time of installation, not at the time of generation of the build. So you can't generate every time build and install every time in a server.
But
So
we
there is
can
some,
do a local, we can do testing, right?
yeah, how are you going to do that?
We can use JUnit and Mockito for testing that particular class, and using the @inject mock and the @mock, we can write the test method for that, and we can try to run in our IDE and check where we are getting the issue and try to fix it.
But these are structural changes, right? These are not functionality changes to write or some JUnit and check it. So the skeleton structural changes, how will you fix it?
No idea.
Okay. So this OAuth you have worked, right?
Oh, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain me what is the difference between X authorization and authorization?
Sorry, difference between
X authorization and authorization.
X authorization.
Yeah.
I know authorization like it basically checks if the authenticated user have the right permission to access a particular resource. Uh, X authorization, not sure.
Okay.
Like I know, but yeah.
So we have. Okay, leave it that. Did you ever work on joins? SQL joins.
Joins, yeah, I've written some queries on joins.
Uh, did you provided any post installation scripts, pre-installation scripts for production maintenance window?
No. So
No.
DevOps, we had a separate team for DevOps.
DevOps. So suppose in your story there is some bug, major bug, and it is impacting millions of subscribers in production.
Okay.
So you need to immediately step in and toggle off your solution. So how will you do it? So you can't fix it. So in any war room or any SWAT calls or anything, whatever it is. So now the management has decided to toggle off that functionality which we delivered in this release. So how will you do it?
Yeah, so I remember one incident where it so this in JPMC they were using a private cloud called Gaia. So there like once the application was deployed, there was some environment properties where they had like option to add some properties, and they had some toggle properties as well, wherein like when we for a particular property, when we keep it as false, so that functionality won't be performed, something like that was there. So I think that property we can add it in, our no Java properties file, and there we can in the cloud we can toggle it.
Okay. Did you work in any quartz jobs?
No, like no.
Scheduled jobs or manual jobs, daily jobs, weekly jobs?
Jobs in the sense like schedule, as a kind of scheduler which performs some task particularly
Yes,
day. Yeah,
exactly.
so we have used I've used scheduled annotation, which is there in the Spring Boot for
Okay,
scheduling jobs.
so you have used all Spring Boot related only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that we have, in the schedule we have a property
Did
called
you ever work on any validations while getting the data from some other
yes.
database? Any regular expressions validations?
Yes, we have used input validation. So there is a validation dependency in Spring which we add it in the POM file, and then in the entity class we can add the validation annotations, for example like @not null, @min, @max, or email. And then while exposing the API, like in front of the request body, we can add @valid annotation, so it will take care of all the validations.
Okay. So coming to Core Java, so we have two different maps: synchronized hash map and concurrent hash map. What is the difference between these two?
Yeah, so synchronized hash map actually puts a lock on the entire map, so only one thread can access the map at the time. whereas in case of concurrent hash map, it divides the map into segments wherein it allows multiple threads to access no multiple no particular segment. So it's basically used in applications where the concurrency level is too high, and synchronized hash map we can use in situations where concurrency is low, so we can use it there.
Are the Spring Beans are thread safe?
Spring beans,
Yes.
not sure, but I think it should be thread safe.
What is the default scope of the beans?
It's singleton.
Okay, so do you think singleton scope is by default thread safe? Okay. Did you work in this Sonar Cube for fixing the issues?
Yeah, so now we come across like many bugs and vulnerabilities. So we check that, and if some vulnerabilities is there, we fix it.
Can you tell me different complexities in Sonar Cube?
Complexities like bug, there is bug, and then code
No,
coverage.
not like that. Can you explain me any encyclopedic complexity?
No, I didn't get it. I think I've
So
never
there
come
will be
across it.
some issues, like for example, if in any for loop, if you have written some 4-5 for loops and okay, so you will get encyclopedic complexity. So inside a loop, you should do multiple loops iterations. So that is called encyclopedic complexity. Like that, we have some complexities specifically mentioned in Sonar Cube. Do you have idea of this?
No.
So did you configure the Sonar Cube in your project manually, or are you using the existing
Existing.
project?
We are using the existing environment, yeah.
So this Kafka or Hibernate or this Sonar, anything, did you work from end to end like a greenfield project? So you have laid the all the integration points, you have created the versionings, integration points, everything. Any component or any module, have you worked end to end?
Like for Kafka, in JPMC, they actually had a requirement to switch to their own like Gaia Kafka, GTI Kafka. So there I was responsible for migrating our Kafka to GTI Kafka, wherein so they had like some UI where I had to go and create the producer, create the consumer, create multiple topics, and create the partition in that, and consumer ID and all those stuff. So there I was involved. Other than that, I was not responsible for creating everything from the scratch.
Okay. Okay, Supriya, I'm done from my side. Do you have any questions?
So as I understood, you have asked questions related to like PLSQL, SQL. So I just wanted to understand what should be the exact role or no work required for this.
It will be like a backend developer only on Java and CWE, but we should have knowledge in Oracle, SQL,
Yeah.
PLSQL, and Java.
Okay.
Ours is a telecom domain
Hmm.
company, so all projects are related to telecom domain.
Okay.
So there won't be much multi-threaded, but we should be able to handle both backend and we don't know. There will be some integration layer where we need to generate some reports or write some reports. Okay, daily reports, weekly reports, monthly reports, or
Oh,
jobs,
okay.
or purging. Have you ever worked on purging the tables?
No.
Huh?
Okay.
Purging tables. Suppose one table is keep on increasing, so per month there are some millions of records. So we need to remove last 30 days records. So
Oh.
we need one job, or else daily job. Daily, for example, some 2 GB data should be added to your mobile account. So in particular time, daily scheduled jobs. And suppose if a customer or subscriber is inactive for 60 days, we need to suspend that subscriber. So for that also we need to run some jobs.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
So do you have experience in Oracle?
Yeah, I have worked with that, but in the past I worked.
Okay, right now you are working on JPA.
Yeah.
Okay then, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supriya. I will send the feedback to
Sure. Thank you. Thanks.
to
Bye.
my manager.